Yes, Jim Carrey was once one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. But did you know that there was a time when he slept in a van, broke, and with his family on the edge of collapse? Years before starring in blockbusters like The Mask or The Truman Show, his life was anything but a comedy. How did he go from a parking lot to becoming the face of global comedy? The real story of Jim Carrey is not just inspiring, it's powerful. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or on the verge of giving up, stay with me. This story is for you. Jim Carrey was born in Ontario, Canada in 1962. From an early age, he was pure energy, loud, expressive, always doing impressions. Teachers saw a discipline problem, classmates saw the funniest kid in school. But behind all that chaos, there was a much harder truth. His mother struggled with serious health issues. His father, Percy Carey, was a gifted saxophonist who gave up his dream for a stable accounting job. And it worked until it didn't. When Jim was just 12, his father was fired without warning. The family spiraled into poverty. The Careys had to sell most of what they owned and move into a cramped Volkswagen van, parking behind a factory where they all worked as night janitors. Imagine being a kid, finishing school, and instead of playing or watching cartoons, you're cleaning office floors. That was Jim's reality. He'd change into his janitor uniform, mop in hand, while hiding the exhaustion and pressure building inside. And yet, even then, he tried to make people laugh. He'd tell jokes while scrubbing floors, imitate factory managers, make silly faces at his siblings just to hear them giggle in that cold van. Can you imagine the future Ace Ventura, covered in dust and bleach, making faces in a bathroom mirror between shifts? The pain never fully left him, but he learned something powerful. If you can laugh in the darkest places, no one can take that away from you. He became obsessed with comedy, but not in a casual way. He studied comedians like a scientist studies atoms. He'd record shows, pause scenes, rewatch facial expressions frame by frame. He'd mimic Steve Martin's timing, Richard Pryor's rawness, Jerry Lewis's physical absurdity. His room, what little space he had, became a personal rehearsal stage. At school, he was still a problem. Teachers scolded him constantly, but classmates, they adored him. He could imitate teachers perfectly, switch voices mid-sentence, contort his face into 10 different characters in a minute. Even the shyest kids couldn't help but laugh. But deep inside, Jim wasn't just trying to be funny, he was trying to hold himself together. At age 15, he finally convinced his dad to let him try stand-up at a local comedy club. He rehearsed every line for weeks, practiced in the mirror, timed every breath. The night came, lights on, microphone in hand, crowd waiting, and then nothing. Jokes fell flat. No one laughed. One guy coughed. Someone whispered, "Next." He walked off crushed, but his dad, standing near the exit, simply said, "You'll go back, and you'll be better." That moment stuck with him for life. It wasn't about applause, it was about resilience. So he kept going, open mic after open mic. He got funnier, braver, weirder, more precise. Eventually, he dropped out of high school to pursue comedy full time. It wasn't a reckless move, it was all he had, and his family, surprisingly, supported him. They knew the odds were slim, but they also knew Jim wasn't like anyone else. By the late 70s, he was performing in comedy clubs across Toronto. His impressions of celebrities became legendary. Clint Eastwood. Jack Nicholson.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Right on, man.
But producers often told him he was too animated, too weird, or too much. too much, the phrase that nearly killed his career and later made him millions. Tired of limits, he set his eyes on Los Angeles. He moved there with nothing but a duffel bag, a dream, and that chaotic fire inside him. Nights were spent sleeping in motels or friends' couches. Days were auditions, rejections, new clubs, tougher crowds. But he kept showing up, always. And then, in 1985, he did something both strange and powerful. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He dated it for 1995, folded it, and kept it in his wallet. He wasn't being arrogant. He was making a pact with the universe. In 1990, after years of struggle, he landed a role in the sketch comedy show In Living Color. It wasn't a leading role, but it was the spark. His wild characters, rubbery expressions, and fearless energy turned heads. Audiences didn't know what to make of him, but they couldn't look away.
Lassie! Oh, Lassie!
Then came 1994. In one single year, Jim Carrey starred in Ace Ventura,
This land holds great beauty.
The Mask,
Did you miss me?
I guess not.
and Dumb and Dumber. All three films became massive box office hits, one after another. He went from struggling comic to the biggest comedy star on earth. And yes, he was paid exactly $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. Just like the check, just like he envisioned. From a van to a mansion. From rejected to iconic. But that's not where this story ends, because something strange happened at the top. Jim Carrey, now famous, rich, beloved, began to feel empty. The lights, the awards,
The winner is Jim Carrey.
the interviews,
What is your home? What is your home like? What do you do when you go home?
Checkers champion.
Really?
No, I basically, I have a very normal kind of home life. You'd be surprised.
Really?
You'd be surprised.
I would be
Well,
surprised.
I don't know what normal is actually. So, to me, it's normal.
Yeah.
none of it made the pain go away. In fact, it made it louder. I had everything I ever wanted, he later said, but I wasn't happy. He started struggling with depression. The energy that lit up movie screens started to dim off camera. He tried everything to understand what was missing. Therapy, travel, spiritual retreats, painting, silence. He pulled back from Hollywood, stopped taking roles just for money, began speaking openly about ego, identity, and mental health. At award shows, he gave surreal, philosophical speeches. In interviews, he challenged what it meant to be Jim Carrey. He wasn't just playing characters on screen anymore. He was unmasking the one in real
And
life.
clustered those together into something that's supposed to be a personality. And it doesn't actually exist. And none of that stuff, if you drill down, is real.
And slowly, he transformed. He no longer needed applause. He no longer craved approval. He started living not for the spotlight, but for peace. He starred in The Truman Show, proving he could move people deeply.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Then came Man on the Moon, where he fully immersed himself into Andy Kaufman's world, nearly losing himself in the process.
Mr. Trouble never hangs around when he hears this mighty sound. Here I come to save the day.
And then Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where his quiet pain struck a whole new chord.
I'd like to take you out or something.
You're married.
Not yet. Not married.
With each role, Jim Carrey evolved from a wild comic to an artist of truth. Today, Jim Carrey still acts, but only when it feels true. He paints, he writes, he reflects, and most of all, he inspires. Because this isn't just the story of a comedian, it's the story of a kid who made people laugh so he wouldn't cry, who carried his family through laughter, and who, at the peak of fame, realized the real reward was never money or fame. It was finding himself. So, what about you? What would you do if the only thing between you and your dream was holding on just a little longer? Thanks for watching, and if this story meant something to you, share it. Because someone out there needs to hear that the funny guy who made us laugh first had to cry alone in the dark, and he made it anyway. So can you.